Hi everyone, it's Sal Jade and I'm so excited to be here with you today, sharing with you the 5 shifts that you need to be making in 2026 if you want to be an online tarot reader. So this is going to be perfect for you if you are somebody who has been considering starting a business in 2026 and feeling a little bit intimidated and overwhelmed by maybe all the free readings and AI and wondering, is it worth it? Or if you're somebody who is incredibly passionate about running your tarot business, you're already doing it online and you are really struggling to attract more clients or struggling to think, how are we going to manage this when it feels like it's getting harder and harder? And it was already a little bit harder to begin with. So I'm here to provide some solutions for you that you can start using from today. I've got a little practical activity at the end for you. I'm going to be breaking down 5 shifts that you need to be seeing things from a 2026 lens, because my overwhelming answer to the question is, can I make money in 2026 in an online tarot business, is yes. But you need to be coming from it 100% from a 2026 lens. So what does that mean? It means you can't be doing strategies from 2015, from COVID, from 18 months ago. Like, you've got to be thinking about, this is the new evolution of the landscape in online world, but I want to give you something concrete that is going to A, stop you using strategies that are just old and will not work, B, come up with creative new strategies for yourself that are going to work in consistently attracting more clients for you. So I'm excited to get started. I'll break down what the 5 shifts are and then I'll go into them. Those of you who have been with me for many years and know how I teach, I do encourage you to stay to the end, because this is a journey. This just isn't 5 little tips that you would find on Instagram, where each tip will build on the next one and the final shift and tip will actually pivot back to the first one. So do stay through all of it if you can. So the first shift is, how do I get clients in 2026, and why that's the wrong question and what I would like you to be asking instead. The second is what the big tech companies, and I mean Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, not so much YouTube, but a little bit YouTube, what they all won't tell you about being an online tarot reader in 2026 and what changes and shifts you need to be making. The third thing I'm going to be talking about is how to make sure you are not getting burnt out on socials. So different strategies that you could use that I would use if I knew everything I know now of the last 17 years, 11 of them being online, and what I would change and do differently. So I'm going to be sharing that with you about what you should be doing to avoid getting burnt out but still growing your followers. I'm also going to be looking at AI. Will it kill tarot businesses? I'm going to give you my very honest opinion, my own research, my own experience. I'm going to share with you how AI, yes, has taken away a lot, but what it has given us back, and the number one key shift that I think you need to be looking at in 2026 to stay ahead of the game if you want to keep going as a reader, and let's say as an AI reader. As a reader, if you want to keep going as a reader, the number one shift I want you to be looking at this year. And the last thing I want to talk about is the surprising thing that after many, many years of teaching this, I still see tarot students do and ask me, and I see them do it in Facebook groups, and it's one thing that you can do that will actually completely change the strategies that you are using to attract clients. And I've got a practical activity with that, and it's a very surprising small thing that is completely free and easy to do, and we often don't do it. And it's something that I've done my whole career, and I feel like it's a reason why I'm still going 17 years down the track. So let's get started. So if you don't know me, this is your first time finding and stumbling across me on YouTube, I am Sal, and for the last 17 years I have been a tarot instructor, a tarot coach that helps businesses that want to thrive online as well as offline. I've also taught, I think I'm up to nearly 100,000 students now on Udemy, how to read tarot in all different levels, as well as how to connect with your guides and angels. And if you would love to get more of these tarot business seminars and what I do on YouTube, do hit subscribe. And if you'd like to get these monthly seminars where you have a chance to ask me questions, so if you've got questions about your business, I'm here to answer them. Do pop them in the comments, even if you're watching this in the replay or you're watching it and you haven't received it as a replay, you've just stumbled across it, pop those comments in there. I do come back and read them. And if you'd like access to my monthly seminars, I do have a link below in the description where you can sign up and get exclusive access to come and join me live. So let's start with shift number 1. This is the most by far question I get asked, and people will often reach out to me through Instagram or through email, or I'll see them post in my Tarot Mastery Facebook group that's connected with my Tarot Card Success course, and they'll say, how do I get clients? Now, if you'd asked me that question in 2015, maybe even 2018-19, I probably would have being able to answer that in a paragraph or two. I still would have encouraged you to reach out to me so I could give you more, because it's still not really enough. Now I'm going to give you the analogy that I see my business and your business, if you want to earn money online as a tarot reader, as being like an octopus. Okay, you have got 8 tentacles that are different levels of where you need to be focusing your attention to gain clients, and someone giving you a couple of tips in a 1 paragraph message on social media is not going to cut it. Like, little tiny tips will maybe get you a couple of wins, but they're not going to build that long-term income without you constantly hustling and exhausting yourself. So that's the first thing I would say, is don't ask that question. Don't, even though that's the question I've put in that I'm going to answer, but stop asking that and instead ask this. Consider what your landscape is in 2026. You have many thousands of people all online competing for tarot clients in a landscape that is full of free readings. So the psychology of people that are on these online platforms, particularly Facebook, Insta, TikTok, even YouTube, is I'm not here to buy, I'm here to just get free stuff. So for you, you've got to start going, well, what am I going to do to get people to stop scrolling? Because if you think of the mindset of people who are scrolling on these channels, they are distracted, they are tired, they are heartbroken, they are traumatized, they're anxious about their jobs, they're anxious about some dude who ghosted them, they are in a complete non-present state to be thinking, I would love to pay someone to solve this problem. They're looking for a distraction. And if you think about how you treat social media, I know I do, it's a painkiller. Like, I pick it up and go, oh, I try not to, but I do. And so in that space, they're not going to be necessarily receptive to 400 posts of tarot readers selling their readings. Hi, I'm selling a tarot reading. So what your job is to, and I'm calling it my 2026 mantra, stop the scroll. So hashtag stop the scroll. What are you offering that is different to every single other tarot reader online? Now, if you are not online and you're like, well, I don't really go on Facebook much and I hate it, just go on there for some research and start thinking like, okay, well, what are people offering? Like, what are they and what can I do differently? So stay with me with this. Some of you who know me for years know that this has been a tip I have used in some of my business courses, but I'm actually expanding it by saying, you almost have to become a detective about coming up with a 3-tier plan. And the first tier is, what can I do that nobody else in the tarot industry is doing right now? Second, is there a demand for it? I mean, obviously, if you're looking at doing tarot readings for dogs and like that kind of stuff, that's a limited market. The market's there, but how in demand is it to build from? And the third one is, basically, will I be able to do it and enjoy it and not burn out because I've got passion for it? So they're the 3 tiers that I want you to look at in 2026. What is nobody else doing? Now, if you're already going, Sal, I don't know how to do that, I'm stressed and busy and I'm already just trying to make a living, you don't have to rush this. This is not something to master by tomorrow. It's something that you should be mastering by the end of 2026, definitely. But start looking for unique propositions that will stop the scroll. Now, that can also be, obviously, in your graphics in Canva and the way you're presenting your offer. I did some of you may have known or seen last year in January, I did a how to start a tarot business in 2025. And one of the things I talked about with that was along the lines of very similarly just making sure that you're not putting out there, hi, I'm selling tarot readings, or I do love readings, or I do this readings. Like, because people are, they're not interested, and they're definitely not interested in paying. They may be interested in getting a free reading for that, but they're not interested in something that is being widely offered. And look, and I know that, and I'll give you a brief example of my own. So I've become very passionate about astrology lately. And so once you start clicking, and this is a bit of algorithm background for those of you who don't know much about algorithms. Once I clicked that first meme that I liked for astrology that made sense about what the planets are doing right now, Instagram got excited and showed me 50 of them. So suddenly now everything I get is about this is what the planets are doing and sextile and Jupiter and Aries, Aries, Aries. So I'm now getting inundated with that. So at first, the first person who caught my attention I liked and followed and I got curious about, and I'm going to talk to you a bit more about where they went wrong in their selling strategy with me, because I want to make sure you're not doing this. And I liked it, but now I'm like, there's just so many. Like it's too hard for me to stop and choose. My attention's like, no, this is overwhelming. This is distracting. It's fatiguing. So I'll either click off or I'll hunt down another rabbit hole of some other subject that I'm interested in, like, hormones or something. So think that is the psychology of your potential clients online. They are looking to be dazzled and to stop and to have something that stands out in the crowd. So every single thing you put online needs to do that. You don't have to spend hours and hours and hours, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that in the next shift. You just need to make sure you are spending wise time, I call it, like wise intuitive time. And whether that's for you walking in the morning, meditation, journaling, taking some time off social media, whatever it is that you need to ground in and get your wisdom, even pulling tarot cards, like being able to just tune in to what's something that perhaps is not being tapped into yet, because that is your job, is to tap in to things that are not being tapped into yet. And there will always be a market for that. People go viral and you see them show up on the morning shows because they went viral because they've tapped into something that no one else has yet. And I'm going to talk more about how going viral is not your intention. Your intention's just to stop the scroll long enough for someone to be interested in following you down a rabbit hole, basically. So that is the lens of 2026. So nothing in your strategy should be predating that. If you are doing, and I'll give you an example, if you are doing astrology readings on YouTube, and everyone else is doing it, like, you're not going to get my attention. I'm going to be like, yep, everyone's doing that. You've got to say something. You've got to do something that is completely original and unique. So that is, for me, my first shift. And if you've got any comments about that, please pop them in there. I'd love to hear them. I know it's a hard one because it's not an easy peasy thing that you'll come up with overnight with that first one. Some of the other ones you're going to be able to do quicker, but this one will take a little bit of time. It'll take some, hello hair. It'll take some journaling, it'll take some processing, but you can do it if you step away from what everyone else is doing. That's my first big shift, and come up with your own heart thing that you feel like could serve your clients. And one great way to begin, for those of you who are already reading, is what do your clients love about you? That's what you're capitalizing on. So I hope that has helped. Hashtag stop the scroll. That is your 2026 lens instead of how do I get clients. The second thing I want to explore for you, and this is what Instagram and Facebook, heartbreakingly, I have to say, and I'm not here to throw rocks at them. They are the reason my business is still going on some levels. I'm going to say on some levels, not all levels. But what I want you to start thinking about, instead of thinking, how do I get on Instagram and get heaps and heaps of followers, and how do I sell my readings on Instagram, how do I give away free readings and then people will like me and then they'll buy from me, because that is not how it works. How do I get people, when I'm appearing in Instagram, TikTok and Facebook and YouTube, to convert to paying clients? So I actually had one of my students write that to me this week. How do I convert from being on YouTube to get them to being paying clients? Now, I'm going to answer that as I go through this. That's why stick with me. But I'm going to start by saying you need to flip this to not, how do I get on there and perform and everyone show up and throw money at me and say that I'm great, or not that you're doing that, but everyone feel like they are attracted to my vibration and they want to pay me to read for them. Instead, flip that and look at what is the intentions of Meta and TikTok and YouTube. What are their intentions and how do I outfox them? And I mean that. Outfoxing is a good word. It's me not being nasty and saying mean words. It's just, how do I not be sucked down into their intentions? Because their intentions will only drain and deplete you. So the three main intentions of these big tech companies, particularly in Meta, is to keep you on their platform as long as possible. And we know they've got these addictive strategies now. We've just seen them go to court in the last couple of weeks. keep you there so that they can put ads in front of you, because they make billions of dollars from ads. So they want you to stay on the platform as long as humanly possible, posting, giving your heart out, writing big, long posts about the epiphanies you've had about breaking up with someone and the pain and trauma bonding. They want you there doing that, building the audience for you. That's what they want. They want you staying there. So the more time they can, I'm going to say breadcrumb you, because that is what they do. And some of you are probably laughing, because I every now and then will get this, yay, Sal, you've got creator of the week or something. And I might not have posted something for 3 weeks. So I know that it's rubbish. I know that they're just trying to keep me coming back on if I've had a sabbatical. So they are trying to actively keep you there. So just be aware, and I'm going to tell you the strategies how to avoid that in a minute, but just be really careful and know that giving more to Meta is a little bit like giving to a narcissist. Like, you're not necessarily going to get back your return in investment in love. And in the case of Meta, you're not going to get it back in how much they will give you reach. Facebook aggressively suppresses links by 95% now. So that means if you have, and I saw this with Elizabeth Peru, who is my favourite astrologer, I saw her write the other day that she's got over 400,000 followers. Like, that takes years to build up that level. And she said people aren't seeing my posts, even when they're saying they're liking them, and even that they're not seeing my posts. And so she's now having to ask all her followers, please comment and like on these posts. That's how crazy it is. So think about, okay, well, pouring heaps of energy and effort into that is just really feeding their beast. What feels good to me, find that balance with yourself and start getting really selective about what it is you post and what keeps you on there. So my second thing is, and this is probably the thing that most people don't realise, and again, where I go into heartbreak over this, is Meta's intentions and TikTok's intentions and all the social media's intentions is to keep you on there as long as possible, creating an audience for them so they can put their ads in front of those audiences. And this is brutal. So this can mean all that content and all that time and all that effort that you are creating sexy little memes or putting your thoughts down with a photo of you at the beach, or a reel with your most valuable tips on how to read tarot, or a pick a card reading, or anything, that card of the day, whatever you're putting effort and time into. They want you to do that so that your audience that you're building like and trust with, and that are starting to like and follow you, are going to stay longer, more ads in front of them. So your big goal is to get them off that platform, okay? And as I said, I talked about that last year in that training session. I'm expanding on it now. Being able to get them off their platform as soon as you can, like, strategies in Instagram and TikTok and that will be different. Like, you can't have every single post you do trying to get people off the platform. And part of the reason is because they suppress also anything that says DM me or comment below. Like, they suppress that, so they show that to less people. So some things are going to genuinely have to be engagement, but do keep a beady little eye on trying to make sure that you are not saying DM me to, so this is one of my strategies anyway, instead of saying I'm doing $100 readings for love readings this week, DM me, like, forget that strategy. That is long since sailed. Instead, you want to get them off the platform to a blog, or even your YouTube channel's better than the other ones. Get them off there and get them into something where they can see more of you, especially your website. Now, I'm not the first to say this, by the way, but it is incredibly important that you get a website happening for you, that people can go on and see everything you do, rather than the huge kaleidoscope of chaos that is on social media. So start thinking cleverly like a fox, like, how can I get them off in a way that is obviously not pushy and demanding. Like, don't slide into people's DM non-consensually. Like, find a way that you can get them off and onto your other stuff where they can find more out about you, and they can trust you that way. Now, I'm going to give a couple of tips of that too. So first one is blogging. Blogging has become, this is so interesting because we all know blogging died for a long time. 80-90% of people wanted videos. But the curious thing, and blow my train here through my whole 5 shifts with AI, blogging has now become AI's favourite tool. So blogging is the one thing that they can reference is written stuff. So feeding your own website with blog posts will, and I don't mean just spamming and yucky, like do it something from the heart, something you're passionate about, will actually get you referenced by AI. So when people type things in, you're going to be going higher and you're going to be getting referenced if you are writing content, because basically AI can't see what you're doing on Instagram, because Metas and that have very, they've got big firewalls for that. But blogging, because it's on your website, they can actually go through and the internet and find that. So do start thinking about blogging. That is my 2026 gold mine, I feel like. Again, this is not stuff that's going to happen overnight, but it's something that you can add to your little octopus tentacle. So, and the third thing I want to talk about is, please remember that one of the strategies that Meta in particular, and probably TikTok do, is they want to keep you on there longer in the way, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, I'm just, again, this is 11 years of being in that online space. They are trying to keep you on so you'll get so frustrated that you'll go and buy Facebook ads and sell your readings. Please don't ever do this. I know I've said it before, I apologise if you've heard me say this before, but Facebook ads do not work for readings for the simple fact that they are free online, so no one is going to click on the ad and go off and pay for it. I've suggested this to my advanced tarot students before, and they've gone off and done it and come back and said, Sal, yeah, that didn't work. So please don't do that, but that's the bottom level of frustration with social media companies, is to get you to start paying them, because you've invested all this work and you think, oh, well, I may as well now, maybe I should just boost a post, maybe I should, don't even go down that rabbit hole. That's not a good idea for when you are selling paid services. Instead, pivot to try to get people off the rented platforms and on to platforms that you own, or at the very least onto YouTube, because at least with YouTube people will watch more, they see more of you, you can show more links, and you can show, they won't suppress that in your descriptions. There's more you can do that they won't suppress it as much. So it's a bit of a fairer, balanced marketplace. So I hope that's helped. If you've got questions, pop them in. As I said, I will be answering at the end, and if you're on the replay, I will come back and look at that. So how about the strategy for not burning out doing this? Because this is what I want to be here for you today. I've spent years burning out on social media with very little investment coming back to me, very little love from the breadcrumbs. So what I want to talk to you about is the strategy I'm doing in 2026. And I've seen many entrepreneurs say, that's it, I'm leaving Facebook and I'm leaving Insta, and they, dramatically exit the scene, which I really understand why they do, only to come back a year later and realise they probably can't function without one aspect of their tentacle being on social media. And so for you, I would say this needs to be your 2026 plan. Spend 15, maximum 20% of the time that you use to grow a business and attract clients on social media. Okay, and I'm not including YouTube in that one, by the way, but on the other three, the Tikkies and the Facebook and the Instas. And by that, I'm also including scrolling. Okay, so if you've only got 10 hours, if you're working as this is a side hustle while you're building up clients and you've got other jobs, then that's 1.5 hours a week to spend on social media. Now you can batch that. I'm a huge fan of batching, so putting it all together and scheduling it, whatever it is, but limit your scrolling. That is your 2026 magic, because when you have a break from the scrolling, you've got more time to go invest, coming up with those creative ideas, pivoting back to number one of just how can I do something different here? How can I change this landscape for me, my reality? We are all, so many of us, law of attraction people here, and our vibration is not affected in a positive way by scrolling a lot, and it's not by copying others and trying to sort of frantically fill those copying, looking at someone and going, oh look, well they've got 40,000 followers, I'm going to do what they're doing and then I'll get 40,000 followers. That's not going to work, because they got those 40,000 followers in a completely different time than you being now in 2026. So I'd like you to start considering drawing yourself a little pie and being really strict with yourself and saying 15% goes on socials. So whether that's TikTok, whichever one it is. If you're repurposing, if you're making a reel, make sure you're doing it on all of the platforms, repurposing it. But definitely, if you've got 20 hours, then that is 3 hours. My maths isn't great. I was an English student. Great. Not at maths. You've got 3 hours of time if you've got 20 hours. So look at it like that and be strict with yourself, because then you'll feel like you're making some progress. And this is going to surprise many of you, but I took a massive sabbatical from posting probably in, when was it, like November, December? I hardly posted at all. If you go back to my Instagram, there's this big gap. And I still kept growing a little bit. And then when I came back on, like, excited and posting, yeah, I grew a little bit more, but things weren't dramatically changing because I took a break. They'll change a little bit, but if you need those breaks, do take them, because that creative time, this for me is the year of the Empress, and being able to tap into that beautiful creativity to come up with solutions and ideas. So do spend that time very sparsely on Facebook and Meta and anything socially. So those are my social strategies. I've got a few more that are going to come into tip number 5. Now I'm going to answer the question that I've been getting so much, and I so understand it, and that is, will AI kill tarot businesses? And it is really understandable to think that it could, because now you can go to ChatGPT and you can just type in, these are the cards I got, chat, what do they mean? Or you can type in, what does this reading mean? And what does this card mean? And what does this mean? Like, there's a whole thing you can do. There are now AI bots that are giving away free readings that you can just go in and get AI botted with a tarot reading. So so my answer is no, they will not kill tarot businesses, but you have to evolve. Okay, you really have to get ahead of the pack. I don't want to FOMO you the way you are seeing, I'm sure, in Instagram, giving yourself mass anxiety that you've got to run out and learn AI now, or you're going to get left behind. I don't want to do that to you. I just want you to put on your little back burner the following lens when you are approaching your business, and that is, the main thing that you do that AI doesn't do is real intuition. And intuition is something I feel like you need to bone up on as much as you can in 2026. And that's good for all sorts of other things too. Because for many years, people in my Tarot Card Success course asked me that question, do I need to do your course? Do I need to be psychic? And I would say, no, the cards speak for themselves. Yes, it can enhance you. You'll get deeper messages, but really you don't need to be. Don't be anxious about that. My new 2026 answer is not that you need to be psychic. You don't need to sit opposite someone and know that their grandchildren's names are Fred, Barry, Joan, and Phyllis. Like, you don't need that, but you need to intuitively know what that card means in their unique context. So their very unique vibe that you're getting, that intuition of tuning into them, you're either feeling them on some level. And those of you who are readers out there will know this very well. I have had many clients that have come to me over the years who tell me that this is what they want me to answer, and something totally different comes out. And, that's a hard thing to manage, because you're like, I feel like I haven't answered their question, but thankfully it is so pertinent to what's going on, like, because I've either tuned into their guides, my guides, like this information comes through, or I pull in oracle cards or something else, and something else just comes in that I go, this is your priority now. And 9 times out of 10 they are agreeing with me, and they get something that they missed, that they didn't think they needed to know. And so that's stuff that cannot be done by AI. AI doesn't know what it is that you need to know, but you're not saying I need to know. So think about how you can bone up on your intuition. Practice your own. Those of you who are already very intuitive, just keep practicing that. Like, keep really bringing that into your readings. Yes, having your cards, but start putting in your marketing about your intuitive abilities. Don't just put tarot. Like, start putting that in, because that is going to be what stands above the crowd in this 2026, where people can just go to ChatGPT. So being able to put that, and if you are looking for intuitive training, I do How to Be Psychic for Beginners. If you have never done any kind of connecting with oracle cards or angels or your psychic gifts, I have that on Udemy. I also do a more advanced course, which is called Psychic Readings Intermediate Level, where you strengthen your clairvoyance, you strengthen your clairaudience, and you also connect deeper with your angels and guides to bring clients in. So that's something that might resonate with you too. But definitely, if not me, some other teacher, just looking at enhancing that intuition, because that for me is the difference in 2026 that you can use to defeat or outfox. I'll say outfox, I don't like defeat. Outfox your AI threat, basically. Something else to consider that I would be thinking about, and I've talked about this in some of my business programs, but something I would be thinking about is, I get this from a lot of people that email me and go, Sal, all my clients, they want, when is he coming back to me? What is his intentions, or what are her intentions? What is the energy between us? I would overwhelmingly now start putting in your website and your marketing that you don't do those kind of readings. And I'll tell you why. Some of you might be like, but what if I lose? A lot of people want them. A lot of people do want them. But those people they go through readers like kids going through their Halloween candy when they first get home from trick-or-treating. They just rip through them, and they rarely consistently, when you start giving them the bad news that maybe this isn't going to work, they often will dump you and find someone else. And so, as a reader. So consistent long-term readings for me don't often come from those kind of clients. So what I would start doing, I think it's going to make you stand out and a little bit more special if you're like, I don't answer this question, but I do have questions. I do answer questions if you are in a challenging situation and someone's ghosted you and you want to know what you need to do and what's going to unfold and those kind of things, rather than the spying on people's thoughts things. People who know me know that I don't like that at all. I don't like that concept to try and find out people's intentions. Instead, just look at, okay, what's the future of this relationship? Is it going to go anywhere? So you will answer those questions. So those of you who have done my love readings course on Udemy about how to give psychic love readings with ease, I talk about that in there. So going in and being able to answer those more challenging, what does he think of me? What do they feel about me? That kind of stuff. So being able to look at, maybe you're not going to be that reader. And if you love doing those readings, if you're like, Sal, those are my favourite readings, and you stick with those readings, I'm not trying to tell you not to do them. I'm just saying you could probably stand out in the crowd a little bit by advertising very clearly that you do deep transformative readings that are going to help your client feel better for their highest good, not necessarily what someone's thinking about them that maybe they won't even care about in 3 months' time, whatever that person's thinking. So you are not I'm not going to waste your time kind of reader, basically. Not that those readings are a waste of time, but you know what I mean? That feeling of getting those real people that want to come in, that transformatively want to work with you on a higher level. That is what AI cannot do. So that is what I would do with AI. Okay. So with my final shift, I'm going to be talking about a practical activity. If you haven't got a pen and paper, that's fine, because it's just you'll be able to remember it very quickly. You'll be able to do it over the next 7 days if you can. And that is a surprising thing that I think most people don't seem to do. And that is, they don't turn the lens on themselves when they're thinking what makes people buy tarot readings. So what do I mean by that? So understanding the psychology of what attracts people to buying a tarot reading is something that we're also busy trying to get the perfect strategy, and often those strategies are taught to us by people that are not tarot readers. They're often people that maybe graphic designs or coaches or different things, or marketers. So looking at the psychology of what makes, it's a bit like pivoting back to number one, what makes you stop the scroll? What makes you buy a tarot reading? So start in the next couple of weeks, like first week, is asking people you know, or even asking in groups if you're in groups, when was the last time you bought a tarot reading? How did you find out about that reader? So, and what drew you to them? So what was your experience with them? You don't even have to go that deep. You can just start with those simple questions. When was the last time you bought a tarot reading? So start asking your friends if you know they get readings. Start asking people at the bus stop. Start asking people at parties, at bars, at work. Like, have you ever bought a tarot reading? How did you find the tarot reader? So start doing that. And yes, while it might be different in 2026, it'll give you more ideas about the psychology of what people who buy tarot readings do. Like, what is their behavior? Study that and start noticing it. And for yourself, like, really look at, and I know this is a hard one, I've said this before, but please start taking notice of this concept of vibration. We're all law of attraction people, or so many of us are, but when was the last time you purchased a tarot reading? How did you find that reader? So turn that mirror back on yourself. And then if you're going to say to me, I've never purchased one, or, not for 10 years, then I would say today, in the next 6 months, start thinking about paying a reader. And that is just because we have been trained by YouTube, by Facebook, by TikTok that free readings is normal. So getting people to pay for them is something we now have to do, all these strategies that I'm telling you about now. When I got first started back in 2009, there were no free readings. Nobody gave free readings. So people were always paying me. It was easy to build up my business then because there wasn't such a thing. For you now, start thinking about maybe in the next 6 months, if you've never bought one, buy one, or if you haven't been for a long time, because the more we support our community of tarot readers and re-normalise tarot as a paid profession, then the more work there will be for everyone. So again, you still have to pivot back to these first strategies. Like, your tarot readings just cannot be basic generic tarot readings anymore. You've got to stop the scroll, but think about what it is that makes you want to buy a tarot reading and try to buy one. Like, try to support one and support other readers. I know that part of the reason I stayed in business for so long when I was reading full-time before I started teaching full-time was that I was basically always investing in paying other tarot readers and healers. This was something I did. This was part of my budget, was to do that. And I know that from that, I got some kind of good, beautiful vibration from the universe, I guess, where people would find me in the strangest ways that were just completely random. It wasn't me necessarily advertising. They would just find me. And so for me, bring that circle of love around and start looking at, from a psychologist's point of view, how do people buy readings? Why do they buy readings? What attracts them to readers? But 2, start buying them yourself. Start encouraging people to buy them. Start discouraging people from constantly consuming them on Facebook and TikTok and social media. So that is something that I would highly recommend for you. Now, if you are someone who feels like, okay, thank you, Sal, that's been amazing, and I'll quickly recap on those in a minute, and I'm going to take any questions if you've got any here. I am doing a masterclass at the end of May called How to Get Consistent Tarot Clients Without Chasing Algorithms, that will explore the 6 pathways to building tarot businesses in 2026. That entrepreneurship, like going in that more, I'll be looking more at blogging, I'll be looking more at YouTube and going deeper into converting from those kind of channels. I also will be looking at how I use AI in my business, like the good things, how AI has completely taken off my desktop, like 10 to 15 hours worth of work a week, things that often I wouldn't do, but also how I'm staying ahead of the game, like other strategies to employ for you that you can do. I'm also going to be giving you some PDF practical activities in your own business, a 3-month, 6-month, 18-month strategy plan, 12-month strategy plan, no matter where you are. And I'm also going to be doing a live strategy session on Zoom, which will be like a group coaching call where you can share all your business ideas with me, share what you've done, and I can take a look at that with my eyes on it and help you. So if you are interested in working with me on that coaching level and you'd love to get more from me, then do join the waitlist. It's going to be late May, I think early June, but let's say late May for now. And so I'll put the links in there, or if you just go to my saljade.com page, the pop-up will pop up, and after about 5 seconds, and you can join the waitlist. And if you've got any questions about it, just pop them in the comments below. So I hope that has helped. I'm going to quickly recap on those again. That first shift in 2026 is, yes, you can earn income, do something that nobody else is doing. The second one is to make sure that you are outfoxing the big tech companies when you are pouring your energy and your love into your content and into your readings. The third one is don't burn out. Give them 15%, 20% maximum of your time. Start investigating other avenues of how to build off those platforms. So no more rented onto things that you own. AI, will it kill your tarot business? No, but you do have to evolve and stay ahead by tapping more into your intuition and advertising all your advertising as intuitive, making sure you're standing out in the pack there. And the final one was looking at being a metaphysical detective and being a detective. Like, how do people buy tarot readings? Figure that out and start asking those questions. How are they buying them in 2026? So start asking those in Facebook groups, but start asking colleagues, friends, person you meet in a bar, start doing that. So thank you so much. And if you would like more of these, again, do hit subscribe. If you've got questions, pop them below. I always come back and answer them. I hope that has helped you.